Hello, and welcome to the Contraband, where 6 Shakespeare actors play blades in the dark.
Yes!
I
I didn't want to blow the mic out, but I'm excited.
I'm Ted Bushman. I'm the game master. I use he, him pronouns in case you want to talk about me and not to me. Joining me on this tale of reckless radicals, exiled heirs, and vicious veterans are Carson Wright, Bram Ward, Kristen Perkins, Ben Isaacs, and Jamie Hansen. Welcome back, everyone.
Good to be back.
How are we feeling? How do we feel about playing blades again? Let's go around. Let's have everyone introduce themselves. Not just in game, but like tell us who you are and what your projects are, and brag about all the things you've been doing since last we were on stream. Yeah, just all of the many things. So you better deliver.
If I say nothing, will you be disappointed?
No, I'll understand. I'll be empathetic.
I'm so
Graham.
sorry, Dad. I'm stressed out.
All right, so we're gonna do reverse alphabetical. So we're gonna go Carson, Graham, Kristen, Ben, Jamie.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm first. I'm Carson, right? I use he, him pronouns. I play Aldo with he, him pronouns. And I am a teacher by day. And I live here in New York teaching performing arts and otherwise doing a lot of other random things such as streams on this channel and helping Ted with whatever he wants to work on or playing a bunch of board games. You know, honestly, the balance is a lot of whack from like work and like board games, but what can I say?
Your intro got more real as you went on.
Yeah, I was like, who am I kidding? Yeah, no. Exactly.
Let's take it.
We get a lot of snacks at the gas station.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm super excited to be back. This is great.
So
Yay.
excited.
Hello, I'm Graham Ward, he, him. I play Bram Borden, also he, him. Very excited to get Bram's voice back online. It's been a while. We'll see how much I veer into Grog Strongjaw in the course of this episode. I have been watching the new Critical Role series. In any case,
Nice.
I do a lot of things, and none of them for enough money, but I'm an actor. I am a tabletop game designer. I'm the content manager for Ghostlight RPGs, and you can find me on many of our streams on this channel. Currently, I am producing and sometimes DMing our Moonshay Rising Shadows series, which is series of adventures published by Bald Man Games for Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers League. And that series is a charity stream for Jasper's Game Day, which we do every week on Tuesdays. And tomorrow we're going to have another stream with a cool guest DM who is the story architect for the full series. A lot of the designers feature as guests, as well as some other great famous streamers and friends and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun working on
So freaking
that.
cool.
That's the main thing that I've been doing. And I also just got back from a Dungeons and Dragons convention. So there were Dungeons and Dragons had simultaneously.
They were had. Also, Graham, I don't know if you've probably announced this a million times, but you did that. The thing that I think is so freaking cool, among all the other super cool things, is the script that you made for that book that was published.
Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
designed
So
the
yes, I'm
language?
also a graphic designer. I do some layout, and in this case, I designed a fantasy script for C.S. Paquette's book Dark Rise, which was just published by HarperCollins.
Cool.
It's
So
a
cool.
fantasy
So
script.
cool.
It's a fantasy script.
That gets either oohs and ahs or people being like,
Mhm.
Thank you.
Kristen.
Hi, my name is Kristen Perkins. I use she, her pronouns. I play the girl, the resident lurk, who also uses she, her pronouns. And I'm feeling nervous, y'all, but excited, nervous in an excited way. By day, I work at a library where I do events like book clubs and art shows and crafts. And sometimes I write grants and sometimes I cut paper into funny shapes. And then I'm also sort of an interdisciplinary artist, an independent scholar. And since our season 1, I've moved into the maid's room of a vicarage, which is pretty fun, where I live in intentional community and I think about and study interfaith spirituality with some other young folks. Yeah, that's me.
You recently won a big grant and got asked to do a big paper at a big conference.
At a conference. I think about religion a lot and queer studies a lot and performance a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Benjamin.
Hello, my name is Ben Isaacs. I also think about those things a lot. Not as much as you. You're reading academic papers on them. I just look at the sky and think about it. But yeah, I'm an actor and a musician. Yeah, I don't know. I write indexes for nonfiction books during the day and try to work out my artistic schemes whenever I can.
So cool.
I thought you were gonna say like, and try to work out my personal issues in the contraband. Like I thought that's where that was going.
Certainly,
Which I was like same, man. So same.
I mean, yeah. What's this even for?
Yeah, welcome to our group therapy session. This guy does a role play. It's great. What do you? Where do you release music? Where would we find music of yours, Benjamin?
My music project is called Beast God. It's a pain in the ass to find if you type it in. So good luck. You'll find it if you want it.
If you really want. That's part of the experience.
Yeah. Go find it. I don't know. I can't spoon feed you everything in your life. God, this generation's so lazy. But yeah, I have one single out. I'm working on I have an album of songs I'm hoping to release this spring. So, yeah.
So cool. Really excited. And Jamie, usually first, now last.
Yes. Jamie Hansen, that is me. Pronouns are he, him. I am also the Right Dishonorable Varric Lomond, whose pronouns are also he, him. Our slide. And I live and work in LA as an actor right now, mostly as a voice actor. I recently recorded my first anime thing, which I will only say that much about it because I've been told I'm not allowed to talk about many things about it.
Cool.
But we'll give more information when I can. But that's lots of fun. And people may recognize me from other Ghostlight streams like the Old School Roundup, which we just did. It's been 2 weeks already almost. Yeah.
Wow. Why did it go so fast?
This time has no meaning anymore.
Truly.
Wonderful. Amazing. Yeah, speaking of, this show is smuggled to you through ice-choked canals by Ghostlight RPGs, a cabal of whispers bringing the spirit of live theater to the tabletop role-playing space. If our product pleases you, we invite you to follow, to subscribe, and also to take a look at the Ghostlight RPGs Patreon and our Ko-fi. We got all sorts of monetization avenues, but also just engage. We want you here. So this game that we're going to be playing is Blades in the Dark, John Harper's delectable, wonderful, evil RPG about daring scoundrels making their fortunes on the streets of a haunted industrial fantasy city called Duskfall. You might be joining us for the first time, you might not, but if you like the Dishonored games, Peaky Blinders, The Lies of Locke Lamora, Netflix's Daredevil, welcome. You are home. Our particular crew here is a crew of smugglers. We've developed some tools that we're going to hope will be helpful in recapping. For now, what you'll see, what you maybe saw before the stream, what you'll see in the middle of the stream is some pages from a notebook detailing bits about our characters, the assets the crew has access to, as well as relationships that they have with other factions in the world. So, by way of brief recap, during our first season, this crew caught the attention of a vicious industrialist, Rufus Engine, chairman of the board of the Ministry of Preservation. He threatened the crew's business and their lives. In order to preserve themselves, the crew partnered with a mysterious syndicate called the Collective to humiliate Engine. They went out into the Deathlands, they uncovered experimentation Engine was doing on human subjects and revealed it to the world. Engine, beaten for now, took a leave of absence from his post and left the city. Who knows where he is? As this was happening, two members of our crew, Aldo and Bram, played by Graham and Carson, pursued a connection with the spectral ghost field and found themselves receiving visions. These visions showed them glimpses of child abuse, unwilling prostitution throughout Duskfall, and in particular showed them two men, a man with polished shoes and a man wearing many rings. After the crew had scared off Engine, they had a meeting with their partners, the Collective, in a gorgeous nightclub they owned. They met its leader, a woman called the White Stag, and several others, and tentatively agreed to a new business partnership. And it was only after they left that Aldo and Bram recognized one of the leaders who stood hidden in the shadows, a man wearing many rings. So now, some time has passed and the crew has a new partner. They've gotten in bed with the Collective, metaphorically, but somewhere in this ideal arrangement is a horrifying secret. What will happen? We have no freaking idea. We're gonna see. We're very excited to see what it is. So, I'll end our intro with a content warning. The Contraband is a crime drama set in a dark and unpleasant city, and this time, we mean it. The gloves are coming off. Our characters this season will encounter dangerous, cruel people, and they are complex and ambiguous figures themselves. Episodes will almost certainly contain strong language, violence, and sex. They may also include human trafficking, implied danger to children, although we will not depict any violence towards children, and cruelty. Be advised. So, tighten your thickest winter coat, shake the snow from off your boots, and descend with us into the Contraband. Kristen, what is your character's name? How does she like to be referred to?
Bushman. She likes to be referred to as the girl.
Okay, so I'm just going to clarify that it is not that we, a bunch of dudes, are collectively calling the only girl in our group the girl, but it is you who have chosen to be called the girl.
I mean,
get that on the record.
That is on the record.
Great, perfect. All right, moving on from there.
Dude is also a very specific term which may not fully encompass
very
all
true.
Of the rest.
Yes, may not capture our whole expression. You're right. Yes. So the girl, you are underwater. Above you is a thick layer of ice. From where you are, it's difficult to tell what's down there in the dark. It's difficult to tell exactly what's up above. You can feel the cold seeping into your bones, feel the air in your lungs draining its usefulness. What do you do?
I try and kick towards the surface and fight my way up.
Yeah. You kick your legs and find yourself moving upwards pretty speedily, feeling just a little ache in your lungs as you are running out. But as you get close to the top, you see a thick layer of ice above you. Bram Borden, you dream that you are standing in the Charter Hall schoolhouse, looking out the window at the tumbling snow. You taught once at this old and musty place. In the glass, you see yourself in the clothing you used to wear as a teacher. What did you look like back then, and what books or accessories might you have carried with you?
If someone saw Bram in what was, I guess, the prime of his life, though he didn't realize it, they would have seen someone in kind of a tidy three-piece suit, a bespectacled man, maybe a well-groomed mustache, possibly mutton chops if it was, the winter. But he would have had an air of someone who was very down to earth, very observant, looked people in the eye, and always spoke his mind. Obviously, a little bit changed now.
Yeah. We'll see who the person he's become just momentarily. But as you're there, you hear a noise behind you. The children speaking. Meanwhile, Aldo Besseron, you dream of the war in Catalan, of your service in Duskfall's imperial military, of fighting the Catalani rebels, your countrymen, but also your foes. A bomb goes off some 100 meters to the northeast. And in its orange light, you suddenly see the entire 7th Squadron all around you. Captain Moira, her auburn braid flying as she leaps out of the trench. Rena and Declan, like storybook heroes, lifting their rifles in mirror image of one another. You see Eckerd adjusting his sniper rifle scope as next to him, a little bit ways out, Ellis turns towards you. What does Ellis look like?
Ellis is he's it's stubbly. He generally keeps it pretty close to the face, certainly, and he's got a bit of a crookedness in his nose from having been broken once or twice, probably times that I've probably fixed it up for him, and he's got like black hair that's cut pretty short, with eyes like a, I don't know, gray steel blue.
Yeah. And he steps out of the trench towards the fighting. Is his attitude cautious, careful? Is he brash? What is the feeling as he steps forward into the
no, he's like right behind Moira, like ready to go. You know, I mean, as far as behind you, Moira, you can get with Declan and Rena, like
and Rena
like,
there, sure,
pretty much like right behind, but it's almost a flash of like, get to work, like let's hop out and do what we're here for.
Yeah, the squadron just moving in concert. Yeah. I love it. So, girl, you've reached the ice. What do you do?
I mean, I think the air leaving my lungs, the panic starting to rise in me, I think I'm pounding on the ice, trying to break it open, maybe looking and seeing if there's an opening somewhere, just with my fists screaming into the water.
Yeah, let's make our first action roll of the game.
Great.
What action do you feel would be appropriate for this?
I mean, probably wreck, which I don't have a die in.
All right. I mean, you could do a wreck and roll 2 dice and take the lower. You could also try.
I think I'll do that. Just because I feel like finesse just doesn't make sense.
Not particularly, given you don't have any tools. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right.
2.
Okay. So that's a failure. So you are using all of the strength you have. I mean, you're summoning more strength than you thought you could under this circumstance. You slam and you hear the echo through the ice as you slam this, and the water ripples around you. It is, you think, inches thick. This ice is just incredibly thick. And as you are looking out, like trying to see if there's a thinner place, you see other bodies in the water around you. All of them are women. And all of them are naked. And all of them are slamming on the ice, trying to get out. You see one of them who's nearby. Their hair is obscuring their faces. And as you see one of them sort of close to you, you see Valerie Cleon, your sister. What do you do?
I think seeing Valerie, I'd swim towards her and see if there's a way that like our combined efforts sort of grab her to me, and this is someone I care about deeply and that I want, I want us both to survive
Yeah.
being under the ice. Am I also naked?
You look down. You are also naked.
Oh man, I think I'm with her, scrabbling at the ice above us.
Yeah. We'll come back to you in a second. Bram, you hear voices behind you. Mr. Borden, Mr. Borden. Multiple small children. You turn to find your classroom full of them. There are these poor Char Hollow kids who come across the bridge in the frigid mornings with their ragged little sack lunches. Everyone is eating variations of eel. Their faces are dirty. Their school uniforms are inconsistent. Many of them are like burned from having been dried over a fire. One of them, this girl with dirty blonde hair, is tugging at your sleeve. You know her name. This is Emma Gallo. She's daughter of Jorgen and Fig Gallo, who are respectively an alcoholic and a brute. Mr. Borden, you said you would teach us about the history of Duskfall today. You said we had to be ready to learn things, and we're all ready. Her voice is echoing unnaturally in your dream.
I'm sorry, Emma. I've got a bit distracted.
She sort of nods patiently, and you hear a knock at the door of your classroom. And one of the children goes to open it, and you see Dean Filius Regule enter. We met him very, very briefly at the Felmore Manor score last season. He walks in accompanied by an inspector, a member of Duskfall's elite police force. This inspector's beard is graying, dark skin. His eyes are alert, like the few inspectors you've seen since, but you can sense an exhaustion there that never goes away. The inspector looks significantly between you and the young girl. Bram Borden, asks the inspector. I'm Inspector Tyne Meacham. I'm sorry to interrupt your lesson, children, but I'm going to need your teacher to come with me.
And Bram looks them in the eye but doesn't address them, just says, everyone to your seats, please. Sit down. Kids, just stay in your seats. Everything's going to be all right.
Mr. Borden, are you all right?
These men have not come to hurt you. They wouldn't dare, I say, staring at the inspector.
And one of the children says, but what about you, Mr. Borden? Are you getting arrested?
I don't know what's going to happen to me. Don't worry about me, though. I'll be all right.
And the inspector looks at the children and says, I'm just asking him a few questions. That's all. Come with me, Mr. Borden.
And I just look out at the classroom one. I guess I don't know it, but it's probably the last time. And I say, keep reading, and stroll out with them.
Yeah. Aldo, you watch as artillery strikes near the 7th Squadron. This time so much closer than before. The echo immediately rings in your ears, and it's nearest to Ellis of everyone. We sort of spread out into a formation. The fire illuminates him, and his jet black hair tousles it with the wind. You can hear the whistling of more charges falling through the sky. What do you do?
The mission moving pushing up into wherever we're trying to get through this area is sort of on the forefront of all of our minds. This is not the first time that we've been blasted before like this, but I think Aldo cries out first to Moira, we need to keep moving, and looks over to Ellis, probably to scoop him up if he should go down, to get anyone back on their feet. Aldo's probably near in the back of his little squad, looking to see who might drop.
Yeah. You race towards him. I'm gonna roll a fortune roll to see how effective you are. You're able to get pretty close. You're within 15 feet of him when another one strikes at some distance. Rena and Declan are fine. Another one strikes, and you see Ellis's body fly backwards through the air and land in the trench feet behind you. As you turn towards Ellis's body in the trench, and you expect to see a visage you remember, scarred and bloody. Instead, you see your niece, Danya, inside the trench. With her long raven black hair strewn, her face peaceful. And you look up from the trench, and girl, you and Valerie are striking into the ice, and you actually start to feel it crack beneath you. And Bram, you turn back towards the schoolhouse, and all three of you turn back and see two people. The girl up through the ice, you see a man with beautifully polished shoes and a man with many rings looking down at you. Aldo, you see them standing in the firelight of the bombs, and Bram, you see them standing in the middle of the classroom between you and your students. And then you all wake up.
Aldo immediately, like with a start, and he like just launches out of bed and like just slides everything off of his table and kicks it so hard, probably breaks a toe.
Yeah. Yeah, is he alone is he in the workshop? Where is he?
Oh yeah, he's sleeping in the workshop, wakes up, finally snapping out of it and getting a bit of control. And he'll look around and just start working on something.
Yeah.
Grab something.
Yeah, if anyone was to pass by the canal and see in this little underneath area beneath this beautiful, colorful silk straw brothel, they'd see electroplasmic lights illuminate and machines start to hum as Aldo gets to work. What about Bram?
Bram is fully dressed, and he just kind of rolls over off of a sofa that he has brought into the piloting room of the Orcus Tooth, the Leviathan hunting ship. There's probably people in the room piloting. He rolls over, picks up a bottle of something, pours a drink, takes it, rubs his eyes, and says, "How are we doing? How close have we gotten?"
Arisha Frost, the leader of the Frost Hunters, is sitting and eating her second entire pheasant of the evening. Arisha has a glorious appetite. She is like getting through the next one. She says, "Oh, you're up.
You
Good
still
morning,
eat
love."
that bloody thing? You were just
Yeah, it's
starting it when
delicious.
I drifted off.
Oh, you mean this one?" And she pulls out the other plate with the other carcass of the pheasant.
Bram
I've got a little left.
Nah, I'm not hungry. And I start lighting a cigar.
All right, up to you. There's a man with a mechanical arm, sitting, leaning back. He's actually fallen asleep in a chair, but he's got a beautifully woven scarf, and you see he's got his needles from when he was knitting this scarf, and he's also got a novel that's open that's fallen onto his chest. This is Tormus.
I didn't know Tormus was a knitter.
Yeah.
Tormus.
Yeah, it was established he was
Gentle
taking a
soul.
sewing class last season.
Oh, I've forgotten.
Awesome.
What a delight.
So, then the girl, you wake up. What happens to you?
I mean, I think, waking up like Aldo gasping and sort of bolt upright, I think she changes into her thieves' black in the room that she has above the yellow parrot and slips out the window, crosses the city, climbs up and just sees Valerie, if Valerie is asleep in Valerie Cleon's room, her sister.
Yeah, you're able to very easily get there, and you climb up the familiar vines on the fence. There's no light on. It's about midnight. But you do through like a little moonlight or a little electroplasmic light that's coming. You stand on this like snowy fence, sort of tenuously, but you have this incredible balance where like anyone else would immediately fall off this thing, but you're just standing there, looking through the snow-covered branches of a tree, and see her asleep in bed.
Without saying anything, without knocking on the window, I'll just make my way back to the yellow parrot, and I'll start the process for opening opening shop.
Yeah. What does the yellow parrot look like? What's the yellow parrot?
Oh, the yellow parrot is our bar / restaurant. You know, it is on its way up in the world. It has you know, yellow walls, as one might expect.
One would hope.
One would hope. A warm yellow. It's very inviting, everybody. And behind the bar, there's sort of these incandescent electroplasmic lights that are in the shape of a parrot that the girl is very proud of having, you know, small stools, small tables, and a big oak bar. And then there's sort of a back kitchen that she's in scrubbing away at.
Yeah, it's too early for anybody else to be at work, but you're here. And after a little while, you hear a little knocking outside, which you think might be one of the cooks trying to get in super early, but then you realize it's like still like 1 a.m. It is in fact a very colorful pigeon. This is Merrick. Merrick is carrying a little message around his neck, tied with twine.
I'll open the door and sort of and you know, do the thing where you're looking at eye level and then oh it's beneath me. Sort of crouch down and say, birds aren't allowed and you should know better. And I'll take the thing and then kind of scoot him with my foot and close the door before he can enter the kitchen area.
Wow, he really is beneath you, isn't he?
Genuine Taikarosi birds right there.
Yeah, Merrick looks forlorn, hops about like back and forth between like as the snow sort of tumbling around him. It's viciously cold. But you open up the letter, and we'll get you into where the letter leads you momentarily. But you know, if this was a TV show, we'd have the shot of the girl then leaving the parrot again. We'd see, and then the title would come over the rooftops of Silk Shore, the Contraband. So we move through duskfall. Gray snow tumbles in heavy flakes from a leaden sky. The rooftops are powdery, the gutters drip with icicles and people passing by each other. It's so dense and the snow's so thick that you can barely hear each other after just a few paces of passing. Just all the sound is muffled around you, but heightened when you're close up. About an hour later, girl, you step off of the quay into the canal, and you whisper "shit" when you realize how strong the ice feels beneath you. This is a bit eerie to suddenly be out on this ice, which appears again to be a couple inches thick here on a canal between Charter Hall and the neighboring district of Coleridge. Snow is pouring from the sky, thick flakes that are already transforming a dusting of powder into a blanket of white. It's now 2:30 in the morning, and all of you were alerted a few hours ago to the situation, and you met here. Some 200 feet before you, in plain view of anyone who might look into the canal, is the Orcus Tooth, your stolen Leviathan Hunter harpoon vessel, full to the brim with contraband and trapped in the ice. You are all here. Tell us who you are and how you are at 2 a.m. What do you look like? What does your character feel like having woken up this early? How are they managing the cold? And how do they interact with each other? Let's start with our friends Hicks and Varric.
Probably when I got this message, I was just sitting up in my little flat reading, and a little knock on the door of someone summoning me. I get the message. I fill a little bottle up with hot tea and head my way there. And as I'm on my way, I pass this little covered area in Char Hollow where a lot of the orphans sleep. And as I'm passing, I go to this little nook that's very specific, and I say, Tulip, wake up. It's time to work.
Hi. Morning.
Hey, brought this for you. I'll hand her this little bottle of hot tea. I'm gonna say, go and find Wilkes.
Okay.
Tell him that the boss is saying that it's time to work at that location.
Okay. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Tulip. Go
right.
fast. Go fast.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll
she's
turn
this.
and...
She's this small girl, probably 11 years old. She's blondish. She has a cleft lip, and probably the origin of her name, but is now drinking this tea fast. She claps her hands around her shoulders. You see her kind of working. She suddenly has the attitude of sort of a working man. Just runs off into the night. So this is her on her way heading to find Wilkes. What about Varric?
Varric would probably receive the knock at the door while he is asleep in bed in his Charter Hall apartment. He'd probably roll over to kind of nudge Oyun to tell her to get the door, and then realize that she's actually she's not there. And then kind of curse a little because he remembers that she told him she'd be working at Madame Lorme's tonight. And he kind of grumbles and gets himself out of the bed and goes over to answer the door and receive the message, at which point he swears loudly upon hearing where it is and how close it is to Charter Hall, and basically runs back to the window to see if he can see the orca's tooth in the canal from his apartment. And very quickly, not even changing out of his night clothes, just goes and finds the biggest coat he can, which is a big sealskin almost type thing, puts the hood up, and then the one thing he does grab on the way out is just a big fake beard, and he kind of just ties it around his head so that nobody notices him. Rick, who lives in Charter Hall, recognizes him as he hurries down the stairs from his building onto the streets, just rubbing his hands, kind of swearing under his breath.
Amazing. And you all reach this who's interacting with each other, who's there first. Bram is already on the orca's tooth, so you're in the ice.
So what we're seeing is we're showing up and seeing, presumably the Frost Hunters are out trying to get this shit unstuck, right?
Yes. Yeah, you see.
What are we looking at here? What's the personnel on the scene?
Yep. So Bram, Tormus, and Arisha are the three manning the orca's tooth. What do you think, being the captain, Bram? What would you have started with?
Well, of course, he'd go through the whole process with Arisha, because Arisha knows a hell of a lot more about ships than Bram does. He's kind of a figurehead captain, but he
probably is he's probably like, yeah, just keep going through. And she's like, no, it's not going to work. We're gonna break the hull of this thing. It might be metal, but this stuff's like stone.
So what you're telling me is we're not gonna get out of here. We're just fucking stuck.
What I'm saying is we need to do something to get it out of here. We need to stop breaking the ice.
I'll go down there. And he grabs a distinctive meat hook, which belongs to Billy Hook, the former owner of this ship. And I'll just head down to the ice. So maybe when Hicks arrives, I'll be chipping away at ice, really exerting myself. And now I have an ability as the cutter to perform nearly superhuman acts of strength. And so what I'm trying to do is get a good hold, chip away at this like a wedge with the hook. And then if I can, try to pull off, some kind of chunk of ice in order to loosen up the, maybe if the rudder is frozen, that'll help us at least get some amount of maneuverability when Hicks arrives.
Side
let's
little
make
production note. Just lean to your left, and Hicks lean to your right for a minute. Share box, it's cute.
We lost Jamie.
Here we are. Hey.
Hello.
Actually, I'm stupidly in love with this. Can we do something like this for our scenes where we just all go into one box?
It's a little Brady Bunch.
Are we in the same box?
He's back. Yeah, you were for a second. Sorry, that was really cute to me.
That's good. I love it. No
So let's
worries,
see.
Jamie. You're all good.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let's make an action roll on this.
Let me try. Yeah, I don't know. I think like wreck doesn't sound quite right, but it's the only one I can think of that
I
would
think
be
wreck
like
is fine.
just
Yeah,
pure
You're
exertion.
wrecking the ice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
think that's
this is 2 dice, and then my special ability allows me to I guess push myself to perform a feat of physical force.
Okay.
That verges on the superhuman. So maybe the idea being, would that improve my what do you call it? My
Effect.
Effect? Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Normally,
No
I imagine
question.
this to be pretty low effect, trying to like chip away to
Yeah.
glacier. But
Yes.
okay, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a 6, baby.
Okay, fantastic. So as you're all like arriving in sort of different points in the canal, and you hear, I don't know, like just like a momentary, he's still trying to be somewhat quiet with his momentary from Bram as he like barrels down into this huge motion, and the rudder, which had been like frozen into the ice, is like immediately disconnected. Your fist plunges into the frigid water temporarily. You pull it out with the hook on it. I'm putting 2 ticks into the clock called Break Up the Ice, which is an 8-part clock here.
It's also Brahms' college band. No, but as Hicks kind of rolls up, I say, "Oh, that was bloody fast. What do you think we should do?"
Where's Aldo?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Where Aldo comes walking up with like a doctor's bag at his side, like click, 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 click across the ice, and finally arrives to you. And gets down and opens it and pulls open. There's like dynamite in there. There's like a rolled up thing of syringes he's pulled out. And he's holding up the 2 and he's like, well, I don't think this will work. I mean, do we really care how loud it is? We could just blow it up. I mean, that's an easy way to break.
I think we care how loud it is.
Remind me, what's on the boat? Everything is perfectly legal on the boat, right?
No, everything is not fucking perfectly legal.
So what are we carrying?
Well, we got thousands of pounds of rum.
Right, that's right. I think quiet is better, Aldo.
We need quiet. No, I cannot have everyone around here seeing this and knowing what's going on here. Absolutely not.
Fine.
All right. We got it. Aldo, I want to flashback to a time when I foresaw the ice situation. I'm just like walking through Silk Shore with my coat wrapped around me. It hasn't been above freezing temperature in like a month. And I'm just like swearing. I'm just like so fucking sick of the goddamn cold. And like it's really like getting to me and like kind of freaking me out. And so I'm just like sort of anxiously spiraling based on the cold, and passing Madame Belorma's place, I go in to just kind of get warm, and I'm kind of like just going through scenarios of what could happen and what might this do to our operation. I'm like, Aldo, what do we do to melt a lot of ice really quickly? We need to, what do we do?
Well, I mean, if you had enough energy or power in the engine, perhaps that might be a way to, but that would be quite a draw. I think perhaps the simplest, most, oil something, some kind of liquidy chemical agent that might... What are you thinking? Are we doing some...
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just this cold weather's getting to me.
Yeah,
I mean, it could happen. Like, what if it all freezes? What if the water that comes out of our faucets freezes and we can't get any water? What if the canals freeze and then the gondoliers can't get around and maybe they want to cut a deal with us and we can do them a favor in exchange for this technology? I don't know. I was just thinking about melting ice. I don't know.
Six. Oh, god damn. You need to... Here, and he gives him like a little bit of a drink, and then while he's drinking, like just a little bit watching him as he drinks it.
Thank you.
Just a little bit of blackout in there, just a tiny bit. It should ease you. Just a tiny
fuck
bit.
you. You
What?
always do this.
It's good for you. Your head is all bunched up. Now, listen. He puts his hands on his shoulders. 1 and 2. I'm gonna find a way to melt some fucking ice. You need me to do that? I want to do that.
Okay,
He says
you
it
do
with,
that.
like, intention.
You're the best, Aldo. Thank you. As like the blackout starts to hit, and I like sit down on the cot,
It's just a
and kind of,
little.
like,
Just take a quick
fall
one.
over.
Yeah.
Amazing. Should we roll a tinker to see how that development process went?
Yeah,
of
I'm not
this
sure if it's far enough
chemical?
along, but let's see how it goes.
We'll see. We'll
All
see.
right. 2 dice for the tinker roll. So we're standing there, all around this boat, freezing our asses off, and I'm like looking at Hicks as he's looking at me expectantly to pull something out of there, and I'm like, honestly, it was on my list of things to do. I didn't get very far. I was going to. I mean, we could light a fire that melts ice. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
You think that'll work?
I mean, yes. I mean, it has to. I don't know. Is this
Ted,
working?
is there any kind of like oil-based liquid that we use in the operation of the Orcus tooth?
The closest thing you have is Leviathan oil.
Okay,
So
not the
it
blood, but
empowers
the
the
oil,
engines.
or is it?
It's the refined blood that becomes Leviathan
Got it.
oil. So you've got enough for a refill in the boat.
All right, I'll call over to Arisha and say, how much of the refined oil can we spare?
Oh, that was my idea. That was yes, I was doing it. That was where I was going with that. That's a good, nice work.
How much oil do we have, Arisha? I'll interrupt Aldo.
Poor Aldo.
You were saying, Arisha?
Bruce is like, we've got 3 tanks of it. That's about what it takes to fill up the whole tooth. We're at about what, 40%? Tormus goes, yeah, 40. He looks at the things like 35%. Yeah. She's like, all right, I think we could part with half of it.
Just
We'll
enough
give you the
to
1
pour
tank.
down the front, the hull of the front, the fore of the bow. There it is of the ship,
Yeah.
and on the
Attaboy,
captain.
Captain.
pour it down the bow of the ship. Loosen up some of the ice in the front. Do we need to heat it up?
The oil at the front of the ship.
Yeah, just not enough for it to combust, but enough to get it hot, melt the ice.
Yeah, we could give it a try. I mean, it'll burn. The oil will burn. I'm not sure how we're gonna heat the inside of the ship.
You ever made fried chicken?
I've never had chicken actually. I know that
You
there's
just
that
heat
place
it up
in-
enough. You don't set the bloody thing on fire.
All right.
I'm not a cook or an engineer. Oh,
Well,
this is
Captain.
your job.
We're next to Coleridge, right?
You are the factory district.
Are any of the factories operating at the moment?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's one about 4 or 5 blocks from here.
Do you think any?
No.
Varric's going to sort of point over there. Like, do you think they might have some method of heating up oil?
Mhm.
Just
And if they don't have a method of heating up oil, then we can just, I don't know. It seems like it's not too hard to convince a group of workers to walk out of their factory jobs these days. We could pay them. I don't know. Where are the rest of the frost hunters? Tormus, go get them.
Thomas, is this your fault?
Leave the man alone. He's had a
Just
bad day.
listen. I can see that he's got some sort of magazine and he's been like knitting or something. Was he not paying attention?
This
You're
is
all
awful.
make the air cold, Varric.
Tormus slams his book shut, throws it down. As he's walking out to start going and getting the other frost hunters, you see 3 men in immaculate black cloaks showing up at the docks. At first, you're like, oh, crap. Then you're like, oh, wait, we know these guys. These are 3 members of the collective. They're super well dressed. Their hair's slicked back. two of them are somewhat. One of them you don't know. He's in front. He's got a couple big bags. The other, one of them is Eckerd. He's got his hair slicked back. He's looking much better groomed than he was in the past, and he's walking out with alongside these guys, talking to the other man, who's rather tall, dark-haired, sort of sallow-faced, and he's wearing extremely well-polished black shoes.
Bram looks over at Aldo and says, "Father, the professionals are here." Good.
The fuck are these?
And I'll
Okay.
move toward them.
As they start approaching, the girl will also sort of like fidget with her hair, and she's woken up quite suddenly. She's trying to fuss with herself to make herself look as presentable as possible.
Yeah, Varric's going to regret just being in his night clothes and like button up the jacket as far as it can go.
Y'all be
to
cool.
hide.
God, be cool. Jesus Christ, be cool.
Aldo just stands.
Yeah.
Everyone walks away from the situation. Aldo's just like glued to the spot.
Yeah, get it undone, Aldo.
The collective guys sit briefly on some benches by the thing, and they hook some little spiked things onto their boots, allowing them to walk a little bit more easily on the ice. And they all step forward.
Gentlemen, what can we do for you?
We're here for you. We heard about.
I
what's
called
going
them
down.
in. I called them in because we're in a fucking mess.
You called these men in. You called.
Yeah,
the
I
collective.
called in the collective. All hands on deck.
Look, we know that it's us that you're helping out. This white rum, it's going to be very useful. It's going to make us a lot of money. We just want to make sure that you have all the support you need. White Stag sent us herself.
Did she?
Yeah.
Can you fix the sun?
The one in the front, the one who's been talking the whole time, looks up and goes, we'll see if we can put it on the schedule. How are you? And he goes to shake Bram's hand.
I'll shake his hand. I really don't know what we're going to do in this mess. We've got to get this ship moving.
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging. Eckerd comes forward up to Aldo and goes, Aldo, how are you?
Fine. What the fuck are you doing here?
Oh,
Helping us?
I'm just, yeah, of course. I'm just picking up work with them. It's pays better than dead bodies.
Right. Makes sense. Well,
I told them that you'd have solved this yourself within 10 minutes.
oh, I was.
So
They.
we're
It's
probably
them. They're
unnecessary.
just. Yeah, right. They. Getting in my way a little bit.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
would have had it. You. You look nice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't feel like myself. It's like uniform, I was never really good at keeping
Well-
straight with the collective.
Mm.
I want you to look good.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
So the third person, Casimir, comes up to the girl and he comes up and shakes her hand. How are you, my dear?
Doing so well. We so appreciate you coming, of course, and with us smuggling all the rum.
Well, I just hoped I could have a taste myself,
Perhaps
Pardon us,
we
we
could get a
don't-
drink together then sometime. At the
I
Yellow
hope so.
Parrot.
Oh yes, of course. I've heard things have been going well there. He's like packing. He's got a bag that he's unpacking, and there's some stuff inside. It's some like mechanical stuff. But he says, "Didn't the White Stag send a cook your way, right?"
She did. Yes, and the cook has worked out marvelously. We're redesigning bits of the menu, in fact.
Amazing. Well, from what I've heard, which is nothing because I'm nobody, they say that the Yellow Parrot is quite the thing to see. So I will have to take you up on that.
Of course. Do you need help with that?
Oh, please, my lady. He pulls out the stuff, and there's this little electroplasmic engine, which he sort of starts to rig like a lawnmower, starts to jerk at it, and this like very small hum begins inside it, and as it comes to life, you see that there's this inside of it that starts to burn red hot, and the the guys start to pull out tools from the other bags that they brought and start to put them into this engine to heat them up red hot. So all of these different implements start coming out. Like, you've got like a little shovel and some picks, and all of them are just like steaming in the cold night air. And the first one says, "All right, everyone, come on, grab something. We can get started."
Look at that device. We could do something like that.
Very impressive.
I will wordlessly do so.
Right.
I'll wait to receive one.
Great. Yeah. I think as it's all happening, like, Eckerd will eventually be the one to hand you and like essentially like a garden trowel.
Sure.
It's just like steaming.
I'll hold on to it like as he's passing with the like expects it to let go and it doesn't for a second.
Yeah. Is it, ugh.
And then he looks just for a second and he says, "Not what you think, no." And then he'll take it and walk away.
Yeah, he looks at you sort of confusedly, but doesn't follow up because he catches a look at the other two collective guys. All right, let's so Hicks, you can take an action, any action that you feel would be effective.
Wreck.
Let's do it.
That's a
How'd it
5.
go? All right. So that's going to fill another 2 slots on our 8-part clock. We're halfway to breaking up the ice a little bit. Did you roll as well, Aldo?
May I also wreck?
You may indeed, please.
6 and 6.
Oh, yeah.
With this little trowel, you're like on your
He's like
elbows
so
and knees,
mad.
just
He's over there just
like glaring at her.
That's exactly what's going on. He's over there like working 3 times as hard with the tiniest instrument.
Yeah. So yeah, it starts getting to essentially the point where like a bunch of people are working, and it's this really like quite quiet thing. You just get this sort of these thuds, toom, toom, and these hisses as these hot blades get through the ice and get to the cold water. So I'm taking from Aldo's 1 from before and from Hicks's 5. We're going to add 4 ticks to a clock called public disturbance. This just means that you've made enough noise with like your arguing earlier and with the other stuff. That was a 4-part clock, so we finished this clock as this is all going on. But all that really means that you see a couple of lights flickering into life in some of the buildings, and you hear someone like grumbling, and like someone calls out from a building on the Coleridge side, like, "What are you doing out there?" And so nothing particularly is happening at the moment, but it is. Things could be, the city is stirring a little bit around you. It's
Hopefully it's enough to stir Wilkes's ass and get him to down here.
Noticing that we're making some like waves here, no pun intended. I'm gonna reach over to Aldo's belt and draw a firearm from Aldo's belt and say, "Work fast. I'm gonna have a look around." And I just want to do a little patrol of like the block around where we are, see if there's anyone like, blue coats on duty, that kind of thing.
You'll notice, Bram, this pistol is much nicer than what he normally carries.
Is this?
Yeah.
I hope you're marking it off on your load.
Oh, definitely.
It's now on your load.
So I've got all those.
Aldo, you got a gun?
I've got all those fancy pistol. I've got, my normal heavy load, which looks like a medium load, and then the meat hook in my right hand.
Did you heat up the meat hook at all?
Oh, yes.
So you're like walking around with this pistol and this steaming hook as you walk through the neighborhood like a childhood apparition of terror. So let's roll a surveyor study, whatever you prefer.
I will aid, since I'm just sort of also looking for Wilkes.
Yeah, looking
Thank
for
you.
Wilkes. Yes, I want to answer that question.
That's a 6.
Okay, great. So yeah, you are able to get a sense of the neighborhood. You walk up onto the charter hall side, which is looking pretty quiet, You walk around a couple houses. These are mostly employees of noble folk and people who work for sort of upper class, like government officials. Charter Hall's the government district. So you've got like these other people. So as you're walking around, essentially nothing happens. You then head down back to the Coleridge side, and there's a little bit more happening. There's some people without homes who are in the street with like a flaming barrel, and they sort of look at you cautiously. And you also see at one point a young person with a tattooed face spot you and run behind a building. And before you, well, you see that, and you also notice sort of as you're on the Coleridge side, you see a couple policemen. Did Hicks ask for Wilkes to bring backup as well, or is he just coming by himself?
He needs to just come by himself because he needs to get his ass ordered around by me, and we don't want we don't want anyone seeing that.
The others to know, yes. Yeah, so Wilkes shows up. He's a policeman. He's a blue coat. He's got a little scruffy beard. There's a lot of gray showing in it now, more than was last year. Short cropped hair. He has a larger coat. He's got a blue coat, and clear that he brought other clothes in case he wasn't supposed to be a blue coat. He also doesn't want people to visibly see who he is, but he shows up at the north end of the canal. Let's really quick do the Hicks-Wilkes meeting, and then Bram, if you want to follow up with the kid in the alleyway, you can.
Great.
Wilkes, sorry to jerk you around like this. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
We have to get our boat unstuck, and it might be a little bit noisy. We need you to make that okay. We'll try to keep it quiet. It might get a little loud. So can you...
All right.
Thank you.
Great. He takes off his coat. He's in full blue coat thing, does the top 3 buttons that he needs to do, slicks his hair back a little bit, and suddenly you've got a policeman standing there ready to tell people that this is a legitimate operation.
Oh my God. Give me 3 of you and I will own this city.
Oh my God.
I don't say that. I'm sorry. I don't say that.
But you think it.
I'm just like basically licking my lips, looking at him like, do this work. Thank God. Great.
Amazing.
Turn around and like one thing is going well tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Back to Bram.
I see the child or young person duck behind that alleyway, and I just immediately go into like a predator full run just to get to the corner of the building and then press up against the side with the gun held up and then peek around.
Okay. Yeah. You we'll keep this as part of the same roll. Yeah. You're able to sneak up there. Actually, let's roll a prowl just to see if it's how much noise you make on the way.
Okay. Prowl is a 3.
Okay. So you're heading up there. We're gonna add this to a clock. Add 3 ticks to a clock called Ripples, which is which is a 6-parter. You are fine. You slide behind this. You're freaking great. You're a cowboy. One of these people without homes sitting in the street a little drunk goes, "Whoa, that guy's really fast!"
Oh, Charlo, I love you.
And so then you hear a door shut. You hear some whispering. This is like not in the house that you're against, but the next house over. And you hear some sort of gruff conversation between a couple different people. And then you hear a whistle. I can't do the whistle that you would hear, but you can
like a finger between the teeth whistle.
Exactly, that whistle that is cool. I cannot do that whistle. Moving on from my inabilities.
You do a lot of things good, Ted. Don't feel bad.
And you're very, very pretty.
It really makes up
great
for
beard.
a lot.
You've got a great beard.
Thank you
So
much.
peeking into the alley where the person ran.
Yes. Yeah, you see it's essentially empty. You see like the vibrating glass on the window of the door of the house that was just like where the door was just slammed. So there's a couple people inside that building,
Does it look like
and
a tenement? or something?
It looks like what has once been factory housing, like for employees of the factory.
Okay, when
It's
you say
pretty
has once
disheveled.
been, sorry, say that again.
Well, yeah, no, I did say has once been. I think that it is still actively that, but it's pretty run down. Like parts of the
Great.
brick have like fallen out of it. It's not in very good repair.
Okay, I'll go right in.
Okay, great.
Throw the door open, look around.
Okay. What you find inside, you like boom, the door just like slams open. It's super loosely held. It's not, the lock, which is actually just like a piece of twine pushed in there, snaps as Bram Borden, this like big, like how tall is Bram? 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah,
How big is
about
he?
6 feet, I think.
Yeah.
if I
Okay.
recall.
Great. Yeah. Big, broad-shouldered guy. Yeah. Pushes open the thing. You see 3 people inside there stand up, and 2 guns are pointed at you immediately. There's the 2. One of them is the young kid with the tattoo you saw. The other is another man, longer beard, and in the middle is a woman with a braid running down her back, and she's sort of crouched and looks up at you, sort of smilingly. She's got a gun in her hand, but looks at the other 2 who are pointing pistols at you. All of them look like they're dressed in the kinds of clothes you might see on factory workers, but they've also got some sort of makeshift armor out of what looks to be stolen leather from factories. So this is like leather scraps that they've shaped into armor over time.
Okay, I'll point Aldo's gun right back at them, just kind of hovering between the 2.
Yeah, Mandalorian and the Stormtroopers moment. It's like full standoff. She goes, "Look, there's no reason for anybody to get shot here. It's fine."
Oh, now I could see 3 right now.
Listen, my name's Ron Shock. We were hoping to come see what was going on in the canal out there. Sent my boy out to look for you. Listen, we don't want to cause any trouble. We know that something's going down, and there's a lot of noise that could happen if the wrong things happen. We would just love for that to not happen.
Could I make a study? I'd like to determine if they seem like a street organization, a trade organization, like if they're in someone's employ.
Yeah,
like just kind of where they might fall according to my understanding of like politics and gangs and factions.
Yes, totally.
It's a 3.
Okay. They are. They don't look like they got a lot of money. I think that's what you get from this. And you also, one of the problems with identifying this is that, and we'll learn this in some rumors in a little bit, there are so many new gangs popping up. This business with the Ministry of Preservation sort of becoming disassembled. The Bluecoats have been stretched super thin, which means crime is on the rise. So you've got a lot of people doing a lot of crime in Coleridge, in Crow's Foot, in a lot of places. So this woman, she stands up to her full height. She's really quite muscular. Got a smile. She says, "Look, here's my thought. We maybe walk you out of here very slowly and very gently and in a very friendly and professional way. Walk you back to this boat out here you've got. We take a little bit of what you've got hidden in there, which we heard might not be legal from someone growling a little bit, and then we walk away. And then you and I remain friends cordially in whatever situation we might find ourselves."
I chew on the cigar, which by necessity is in my mouth.
We could also, if there's a thought from anyone that we might have become worried about Bram not being around.
Well, would we have heard, you said there was a whistle. Would we have heard the whistle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What would Varric have done when the whistle happened?
Varric would probably have gone over towards, it's the Coleridge side that Bram's on, right?
Yes, exactly. Coleridge side.
And Bram's gone into one of the alleys nearby all of the people who are still on the streets.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
Varric's going to kind of sigh, look around, remove his coat so he's just in his like sleepwear, and then just kind of rub up against one of the walls a little bit to get real dirty, and then just sort of stumble over to sit with the people who are on the street. He's not sure where Bram is, but he's kind of assuming that Bram will get into trouble and make some noise. As tends to happen. And so he wants to just be on the scene.
It's his job.
Yeah. Throw on some interference.
I love it. Anything else from other members of the crew? Is there communication about this?
I think Aldo just keeps working away. Every once in a while.
Aldo is just...
I wonder if Bram is back, but he's mostly just like.
Yes. Yeah. There's
Same.
a point
I'm
at which
gonna return and. Yeah.
Aldo's just making this huge path in the ice. Sorry, what were you saying, Benjamin?
I just return and continue to work.
So
I want to keep an eye on the collective dudes. That's my intention tonight.
Awesome.
Because I don't.
That's great. Yeah.
Because
are you working near me, Hicks?
Yeah.
Cool. As I'm like chipping away at this, I'm like, see Eckhart's with them.
Yep.
That's fucked up.
I guess we're with them too.
I guess.
That's what feels most fucked up to me.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you there. Something's... I don't know. He just keeps chipping away at this. Looks over at Eckhard.
Yeah. Eckhard is standing there. You see Casimir take one that looks like a big shovel and sort of do the thing where he kicks the shovel into the thing and then does this big... which does a pretty effective... and cracks open a good amount of the ice. Let's I won't force a roll. We'll just move the clocks forward a little bit. So you've actually broken open most of the ice around the Orca's Tooth, and you're now presented with a choice. Basically, with the way ahead of you is more choked up and clogged than the way behind you. The way behind you means you might not be able to make the delivery tonight, which means you might not be paid as much. The way forward is going to take you more time to break through. So this is explained to you by Arisha and by Casimir as they're all talking. So Girl, Hicks, Aldo, what are you thinking? Do you guys reach a conclusion about this?
I mean, we need to get paid the full amount, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We're in agreement.
I suppose if you both think so, I might be safer to go the other way, take a little bit of a hit. It's not like we're wanting.
It's fine. Wilkes is going to keep everyone off our back. This is an official maneuver, according to the Blue Coats. So as long as the inspectors don't catch wind, we're fine.
Hicks, I love you. Have I ever said that?
I don't think you have.
Well, I do.
I love you too. I'm like blushing.
Where is he right now? He looks out for Wilkes.
He's working.
Yep. You see him pass through a couple of buildings with a lantern, looking in your direction, taking a swig
from a promotion,
from a
and
flask.
we have him literally like handing out speeding tickets tonight. Like, gosh.
And he spends the rest of the week sitting behind a desk, like getting drunk and paid a lot. So, like, we call him every once in a while to cover our asses at 2 a.m. And
Exciting.
I guess he's down. It's cool.
Excellent. Well, fine. I guess we go forward then.
All right, so let's make a couple rolls. Two of you can make a roll on this, on the breaking through.
Yeah, can I, partly because I'm better at finesse than anything else, but would it be possible for me to strap some ice skates onto my boots, which we agreed the girl had, and sort of create rivulets of just like like lines in the ice, grooves in the ice, thank you, that we pour oil in and then try and, do a combo thing so that we are like getting whole chunks sort of separated.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, duh.
This is my idea. Does this make sense?
I love it.
Yeah.
In terms of physics?
I mean, if nothing else, it's going to weaken the ice and
that's great.
Break faster.
It's cool.
So we get Arisha to like pour some oil through these grooves. It's a little more finesse than we have been. We've just been like smacking at it.
Aldo's like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Well, and also, how much rum on this boat are we not giving to the collective? Because I imagine that if we're going to have a boat, a Leviathan hunting ship full of rum, we're not just selling all of it to one client. Like they're not, like these people aren't our sole business as much as it appears that they would like that. They're not. So it seems like we have some that we were holding back for use, and perhaps we can sacrifice future opportunities to sell this to get this job done quicker by using that instead of the Leviathan.
Yeah. Kristen, do you have something you want to say?
Just that the collective, Ben, because I feel like you're not saying this is Hicks, pays us well, and this is good faith to give them all the rum that they want and deserve.
Listen, if you want to flashback a scene about how we each feel about the collective, now let's go into that room.
I think the girl is happy. Probably so many times, so much time to discuss how we feel about the collective.
Yeah, we've got a season left for that.
Yeah, save it for downtime.
Yeah.
The rules were working.
But I think the girl would be okay using rum, especially if it's not worth as much as the Leviathan oil, right?
Well, the Leviathan oil is the fuel for the ship. You're not selling it.
Okay.
The rum is the thing worth selling, but you've got a couple crates of it you're keeping. Yeah.
But it probably costs for us to supply Leviathan oil, because it's not like we're farming it ourselves. I mean, I don't know what the price of fuel
we can't like pull up to the Chevron and like
yeah. It does cost to get more access. Yep, absolutely. Okay. So the rum is comparatively cheaper in this specific situation. So you make let's make that finesse roll and see how that goes.
Wait, does someone want to aid?
Sure.
I'll aid you.
Oh,
I feel like we're all there together. Okay.
I'll do it.
That's exactly how it went. Aldo's like, I'll do it, and then Hicks does
it. Aldo's just like going ham with the hot trowel. I'm like, no, you work.
That's a 6.
Yeah, so the girl like ice skates through this. I mean, are you ice skating to create these rivulets? Like,
yeah, maybe like going over multiple times to create the grooves.
Yeah, fucking awesome.
Maybe heating up the blades a little bit.
Ooh, yes, I am for sure.
Just like a little bit, not enough that you go through.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, and like a little trail of steam passes behind her, and she's fast. She's like.
I'm like following her behind with like a sack full of like rum bottles, like. Run it in.
And the idea is to get like whole chunks like Pangea like floating away,
Yeah, just like lighting matches and like dropping it, making a little fire behind her.
Yeah, we have these trails of fire, and it's probably like while this is starting to happen, that this whistle happens. Varric heads off on his own. You want to make a study or survey roll to see if you can identify where Bram is.
Well, I was actually wondering if I could actually like stumble up to the people on the street and kind of like, oh, it's cold. Can I rest by your fire, please?
I don't know. It's Hallion's fire, and Hallion opens a crusted eye.
Hallion.
Oh.
And he goes, "Of course."
Cheers, mate. Do you chaps, by any chance, have you seen kind of a grumpy-looking fellow, about 6? He's got a cigar. Wander around here at any point.
He's not one of the bill hooks, is he?
No, not all. Well, I mean. No.
Hooks? I'm sorry.
He goes, no, let's consort. Let's see how well these guys are to be convinced.
That is a 3 and a 1.
Oh no! The legendary,
I love
the
you.
legendary Varric rolls on the consorts. I'm gonna see what this consequence is. Meanwhile, Bram, what's going on in that shed?
So with my gun
if you have
still,
something you want to do, or yeah,
still leveled at them, I kind of roll the hook into my belt, like a belt. A buttonhole on my coat,
sure.
and just let it hang there. And with my other hand, I start to reach into my coat pocket, and I say, "Clearly, we're moving across your territory, or as close to it as makes you uncomfortable. How about we just call it a toll payment and leave it at that? You don't own the canal, do you?"
I certainly don't. Certainly do not own the canal.
And I'll very quickly, even like, in a way that might be provocative, fling like a little pouch of coin at them, let it hit the floor at their feet.
Okay. Is this one coin that you're spending? They're offering?
Yeah. If you think that is,
it would increase effect of whatever roll you're about.
That's
to
out of my liquid coin.
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll toss my coin.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm gonna try and make it more of an intimidation.
Okay. As a command.
That's fair, right?
Yeah.
I've got a gun pointing at them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So let me, if that's okay, I'll roll a command.
Yeah.
Frightened.
Love it.
And I'm gonna push as well. So putting it all on the table here.
Oh my god.
Yes.
The 4.
Okay. Yeah. So
That works. That works. We'll take a 4.
That totally. That works. Yeah. Tell us what about Bram makes it so that Ronshak accepts this deal?
Let's
what
see.
What does he do in the moment? Like just like it can just be like the expression of the moment.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, there's just a madness in his eyes. It's no longer really a desperation, but definitely like an attitude of I would shoot you just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's all mostly focused on her. So that, because I know I'm not necessarily going to be able to intimidate two people with guns pointed at me. But if they're afraid for her, that I might be able to get a round off at her before they can kill me. Sure. That's kind of the tactic.
Yeah, that's great. She, this is a woman in some tattered clothes with some screwed up leather. She does not look like she's really in a position to take you on, but very confidently, she takes the purse, walks around the little table she's in front of so that she's pretty close to this gun pointed in her face. And she says, "I'm honored to meet you." And she tosses the coin over her shoulder and turns around, and the other guys lower their guns.
I'll lower mine and say, "Pleasure doing business with you. I'll stay the fuck inside." And I'll back out.
Yeah, well, we'll take that with that 4. That 4 or 5 will take. What happened is you then hear a noise outside, a rather large noise of the barrel full of fire being knocked over. As Varric, you are in the middle of trying to convince these guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, totally." When you are grabbed by the scruff of the neck by a man wearing this leather, very large, around 6 foot, who matches the appearance that you gave for Bram. Also has a cigar in his mouth, but distinguished by having.
What are the odds?
Big.
Yeah, just distinguished by having like a much thinner beard. It's actually just like a goatee. But he says, "You looking for me?"
Yes. Yes, I was. You dropped something as you were walking down the alleyway over there.
All right. And what is it? He pulls out. You see that and actually, Bram, as you're leaving the presence of Ronshak and the others, her name is Ronshak, which is spelled Roinseach. You see that they have, on top of guns, they're carrying butchers' butcher's tools. They have long meat hooks on chains. They have big old long knives, like these big cleavers. They are kitted out with. These are the Bill Hooks, is the name of their gang. So you see this same weapon that this guy's carrying. And as you were talking to him, Bram walks out from behind the corner and sees one of these vagrants being accosted by one of the Bill Hooks, and you realize that this vagrant is sadly somewhat familiar.
Yeah, I'll just keep my gun up, I guess. And this is the whole scene is Bram pointing guns at people. But I'll say, looks like I brought the right kit to the party.
The guy says, "What is going on here?" And then you do hear Ronshak come from behind you, and she says, "He's all right, mate. We made a deal." She like rings her bag of coins, and the other guy with his big meat hook backs off and says, "Hope that was enough." And he looks between both of you.
It's enough. Get your hands off him.
All right. Okay. Yep. And they back off.
Okay, and I'll grab, if it's okay, I'll grab Varric by the scruff of the coat myself and start walking.
I came to rescue you.
Yeah, thanks for the rescue. Back to the ship.
All right, let's make a couple more rolls on ice. I was gonna, so let's take some rolls on ice. Aldo, do you want to do another rec? Hicks,
Sure.
do you want to do another? You guys are starting to, with this fire going through it, things are looking like you might just be done with this night real soon.
I got a 4.
I'll push myself.
Okay.
And I got a 6.
Okay, great, awesome. So you, as a result of these rolls, the last of the ice breaks forward ahead of you, and the Orca's tooth starts getting enough traction that the ice ahead, which is softer, is sort of pushing aside in the process, and you get to an open part of the canal that's sort of more connected to the main river. So like the narrower canals are the ones that freeze over more easily. They're shallower and such. So the Orca's tooth is able to get through just fine, and all of you kind of have to step back pretty quickly to get out of the way, because suddenly this isn't the canal isn't a path you can walk over from one side to another. You're suddenly split on either side of the canal. Though there's a bridge some blocks down. We will, with that, the 4 and the 5 and a couple of these other rolls, will say that by the time you're getting out of there, the first glimmers of dawn are coming over the horizon, and there's a bunch of people who are just sort of like, these people are not like terribly focused on what's going on, or they particularly seem to understand, but there's enough that this took too long and was, and got you seen by some folks.
Have we missed our drop or no?
No, the drop is happening. You're going to make it to where you needed to go in time. So you're going to get the payout, which was 4 coin.
Maybe.
Any other interactions? We've got a lot of people here. We got Wilkes hanging out. We got Eckerd. We got Casimir. We got this random collective guy. We've got Arisha, and we've got Tormus. Any interactions with any of these from anyone? Does Bram stay on the Orca's tooth? Does Bram communicate? Bram and Varric communicate about the bill hooks to anyone?
Sure. Yeah, I'd ask. Has anyone heard of the bill hooks?
Billy Hook?
No, bill hooks.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
okay?
no, I was a little bit concerned at first, because I think I saw Billy Hook drowning in the harbor, but there was some group in there, looked like butchers or something. They came on us. We were a little too curious.
One of them looks exactly like Bram. It's uncanny.
Well,
It's you wouldn't believe it. He had the same hook. You had a hook,
Billy
right?
Zook. Yeah, Billy Zook. Wow.
Very, very popular these days.
So the bill hooks feel like they can flex on us.
Okay,
well, I
it's-
don't know. I think it turned out all right.
Yeah,
Leader's
seems
a
good.
woman named Ronshak, and She seemed very reasonable. Had to spend a bit of coin. Suppose that would come out of the company coffer, eh?
Suppose it would. Thank you, Bram.
And we do have to pay for your mistake?
My mistake.
Your
I'll stop them
mistake?
from getting involved.
If we hadn't made a lot of noise to begin with, perhaps they wouldn't have gotten involved anyways.
I don't know. Bram is not in a sparring mood. He just spits on the floor, and yeah, I don't know if we're like on the Orcus Tooth. If so, I'll just like lie back down on my sofa in the piloting room.
Yeah. Let's assume that we're on the Orcus Tooth heading back. Were there any moments just to get us out of the? Was there a final Wilkes interaction or with any of the collective guys?
No, I think there was that one time talking to Wilkes, and
that's it.
Unless he's approaching me, I mean,
Nope.
he seemed to know what he was to do.
Yeah.
And I don't talk to any of the collective dudes all night unless they talk to me.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think at this point he avoids, Eckert unless Eckert has anything to come by and say. Just watches him go once we're done, part ways.
Yeah, Eckert probably like doesn't approach for a conversation, but just sort of nods and waves maybe.
Yeah.
What concerns me is I don't know that we could have done that without their help.
On that note, I'd have gone over to the collectives and kind of found the one who we don't know and said, I just wanted, if you could pass on to the White Stag, our thanks for the help. We had that completely under control, and we would have gotten it done, but it might have taken a little bit longer. But we do appreciate everything you did, and that she does for us.
Hey, absolutely, my friend. He reaches out to shake your hand. Firm handshake, very friendly. He says, "I know the rules. Only first names and no personal questions, but you can call me Shiloh."
Shiloh, it's a pleasure. Eckert, always good to see you.
Yeah, Varric. Yeah. Casimir looks at you and then looks at Wilkes Stanbury, who's passing between buildings, and says, "Who's that?"
That's was sort of a pet of ours. Well, of Hicks's, you might say.
It's nice.
Oh, it's
Good
very
hookup.
nice.
All right. As you see the Casimir starts walking away, a big dog walks up to him. Did you describe the dog, Carson?
Yeah, this dog is a big mastiff, muscular, the kind you look at and you're like, man, they barely covered that dog in skin. Like, it is just big dog, cut ears.
Dog does not skip leg day.
Add attention, I mean, generally well obedient, but he is gray and silver at the sways that the light catches him, just kind of like dapples in sun or electroplasmic light. But he's a big boy.
Beautiful beast, big boy. Casimir leans down and sort of pets the dog. There's a little something at the dog's neck. He pulls it off, reads it. The collective guys head one way. Casimir sighs to himself and heads a different way.
Yeah, Aldo takes note of this.
Yeah, great. Meanwhile, we've got you all back onto the Orcus Tooth.
Real quick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Varric comes back from that conversation. He's watching them talk because he's watching Eckert and Casimir. And as he comes back in, hey, Varric, there's a little, there's something on your nose, a little bit.
What?
It's brown. Smells like shit.
Fuck! Fucking balls! Fuck!
No, it's. There's nothing on. I'm saying you're kissing their ass.
Oh. Very funny, Aldo. And
yes,
Varric will attempt to punch Aldo in the shoulder. It's not very hard. It's kind of
like. So I really wanted to annoy you, but you really threw me off there with that.
Yeah, well, you really threw us off not having a solution for our ice thing tonight. So
it's not my fault. I mean, don't put this on me, Right.
Well, I mean, I'm putting it on Thomas, but I'm just saying, everyone around here needs to step up. We can't afford to look stupid in front of the collective like that again.
Weapon forbid. And he walks off to go find Bram or wherever. Probably.
You know where to find him.
Oh, yeah. Like picking at his
On his
toes on his
couch.
couch or whatever.
The couch of the king. So,
like a Bram-shaped indention on this couch. It's like greasy.
we will, unless there's any other moments we want to do, I think let's take our break here. And then we'll come back in a few minutes and get the payout and start our downtime. Does that sound good?
That
Sounds
sounds
good.
so good.
Sounds good.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Guys, it is so good to be back. Gosh, I'm having such fun. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We're excited to play more of this. All right. See you soon. Hello, and welcome back to the Contraband. We're so glad you're here. We're going to continue our session with the payout from the score that we just had, delivering Alkebulani White Rum to the collective at the Heron's Roost and Night Market. So we get paid, by we I mean you, get paid 4 coin for that endeavor. Then you will also get paid in rep. You earn 2 rep per score by default, plus an additional if the target is higher than you, which doesn't count in this case. So you're just going to get a solid 2 rep for this score. Pretty, it's not exactly a dramatic thing that's going to increase your reputation. As far as heat, 0 heat is smooth and quiet with low exposure, and 2 heat is contained or standard exposure. How do we feel about our score?
Standard.
Well, I think that part of it depends on how well Wilkes did his job. I didn't roll for that. He just did what I said. I didn't even have to roll.
You got him whipped, baby.
I think we got noticed by the bill hooks, which was less than ideal. Like they're kind of mollified for now, but they are like we're on their radar.
And
we're in a relationship with the bill hooks now.
My hope was that actually, by paying them, it might like push it over from being something they're curious about and want in on to something, maybe they feel like they're a little in on it, and we might have an opportunity to meet with them later.
Sure.
That might be nice.
They're definitely not in a negative relationship with you. In terms of the relationships, we can go from 0 to +3. They're at a 0 still.
If they choose to escalate, they wouldn't be the first people with a hook to meet their end at our hands. So
they're butchers. You want to work with butchers instead of the collective?
Everyone's got their uses. Every station can be the right one, depending on context.
Love it. So maybe we 1 or 2 heat, I think. I rolled for Wilkes. He did all right. Got a 4.
I think kind of 1 heat. I mean, there wasn't
a 1. Not
like
a lot happened.
how many clocks were there that we could fill before there was a problem?
Yeah,
we filled 1.
You filled 1 clock. Ripples was going to be the larger one where there was going to be some more trouble. So I think let's do 1 heat. So really pretty smooth score with the help of the collective. You guys did it all on your own. And that's our payout for this session, for the score. And now we move into downtime. You all have 2 downtime activities, which apparently in the book are called activities and not actions. So it's not an important distinction, but I'm going to start making it.
They're all just scenes, baby.
They're all just scenes.
It doesn't mean anything to us, but lots of scenes. Get in each other's boxes.
It's like a Herald where we roll dice too.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Great. So what are you all up to?
So I think I will have talked to the girl, or Mrs. Duval. Sorry, is that the name?
Mrs. Fleur Duval, yes.
Mrs. Duval, yes. I've got an operation going where I'd like to take some hot food to some of the orphans in Coleridge. Do you think that we could use the kitchen to prepare some hot soup for transport to the children, for these poor wretches who haven't anything in the world?
And sorry, but the purpose of it is
information. They're like my intelligence network, and also it's cold and they're just children.
I mean, children suffer in duskfall every day, but if you care about these particular children, perhaps we could arrange something. And would the company be paying for the food?
Yeah, I will be.
Great.
It's
Porridge?
coming out of my pocket. Something a little bit denser, if possible.
Denser than porridge? The way, is there a name for the cook, Ted?
Oh, Finette is the cook's name. Phynett, because I like Y's.
Great. There's nothing denser than porridge the way Finette makes it.
Well, porridge will do nicely. Thank you. Great. So I'm going to go with, any member of the crew. I may have told them that I go and feed the children. If anyone wants to join me, you're welcome to. But I'm going to go over to this factory that the back wall of it faces the canal, but the work that goes on in the factory it's like an ironworks, and so it's really hot in there. And so this back wall is very warm, and a lot of the urchins will kind of sleep over there, and just because they can lean against these bricks and it keeps them warm in the icy duskball winter.
The girl will go too, just to see where the resources are going.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah. So you get to this.
You've been working for a nonprofit for a long time, Kristen. It sounds like.
Oh yeah.
Does Jean-Pierre come, or is he not?
Yeah, Jean-Pierre helps out.
All right. Jean-Pierre is someone who you don't actually know super well, girl and Aldo. Jean-Pierre is a member of the Frost Hunters, the Leviathan hunters who have been maimed and have then found new employment with the crew. Jean-Pierre is one of those. He's a Severosi, dark-skinned person who was raised by people in Bavaries, which is why he has a Bavarian name. But he's really solid, very strong, large man, and just really smart and really quiet and really observant. And he's the one who has all of the food. Hicks, does not carry any of it. It's Jean-Pierre who sort of lugs it all. And as you get to this, this is like the heating bit. Ben, sorry, I was looking at something while you were describing that.
Yeah, it's
locale.
Yeah, to that place that we had sort of talked about, the factory wall where the kids hang out.
Yeah. So all this steam is coming out of the factory, and you see a bunch of kids sitting in it. There's a dozen kids just sitting here, essentially taking advantage of the heat generated by this factory. And there's a couple kids who are lookouts, and they get all of the other kids give these lookout kids most of their coats. So you've got a kid who comes and sees you who's got 7 coats on and 4 hats. And he goes, "Hey, it's Hicks! Hey, it's Hicks here!" And he sort of whispers throughout the kids, Hicks is coming. And they all you see them all start looking in their pockets, trying to find scraps of filing paper and other details that might give them some information worth giving to Hicks. Tulip is here from the previous night. She's got a big old cap about 3 sizes too big for over her eyes, clearly asleep in this thing, but wakes up and goes, hey Hicks, how are you? I got him for you pretty good last night. Yeah,
great work. Great work last night. Thank you so much. He did you well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my feet are a little cold. You look down and her feet are pretty bad. She doesn't really have very good shoes. And actually in that moment, Jean-Pierre reaches down, gives a look to Hicks to sort of ask if this is all right, but reaches out and takes out a pair of shoes that looks like he's made himself and gives to Tulip.
That's amazing, Jean-Pierre. What a guy.
Yeah. Well, Tormus has all this stuff that he's using to, he's sewing things, and I figure I might as well make something. And then he gets to serving food to all the kids. And as these kids come up to you, you get rumors from Jams, you get rumors from Apsley, you get rumors from Baldy. They all come up to you and give you some rumors. And I'm going to give these rumors to the crew now. The rumors. So this is one that you probably aren't getting in this exact moment, but this is a broad, important, useful rumor for the crew and for the audience. At the end of last season, a large portion of the Ministry of Preservation resigned. Essentially 40% of their senior leadership, as well as large portions of the people who worked there, resigned. The Bluecoats, in the meanwhile, have been tasked with managing the city's borders, which usually were controlled by the Ministry. This is terrible because the Bluecoats are so easily bribed that essentially the borders have become completely porous. Anything gets in, anything gets out, as long as you have a little coin to give to a Bluecoat.
Does that specific thing, does that affect our prices? Is it so easy now that we're I'm just curious.
It is a little bit Yeah, the collective is frustrated about it, especially because there's all these new gangs getting up trying to work hard. But the collective has really good hookups, and so the stuff they're bringing in is still quite good, because it means they've got good connects in other areas. But yeah, there is a bit of competition. There is the collective is not happy about this exactly. So the assembly for weeks now has been arguing about what action to take about this, even though they're most of them, especially the preservation. No, what are they called? It's the one that Lomond's a part of. Oh no, I didn't review my politics. The conservation salon is not super happy about. And they don't want to admit that the bluecoats can be bribed easily. They want it to be like, no, the city's institutions are solid and not corrupt. Anyway, so the next rumor you get is that gangs are growing in the city. You've got the billhooks in Coleridge, who some people know about, some people don't. There's so many that essentially every kid tells you different gangs that are in charge of different districts. There's that much sort of uncertainty just because they've got all these so many going on. They're emboldened by the distractedness of the bluecoats. They're fighting over every corner and every filthy street. Crow's Foot has been totally destabilized after Alyssa's imprisonment and is crawling with gangs. Pascal, the leader of the Crows, is doing his best to unite them, but the problem is there's tons of leadership that Lissa brought in who are all loyal to her, and then there's Pascal with all of the old dogs from Rorik's administration, and so you've got this conflict between them. And Pascal is trying to play politic and see if he can unite the Crows for real, and it's just not. It's just in the meantime, there's a bunch of other gangs showing up. Coleridge is also a major place where this is happening because these men and women are emboldened by the success of the Florencia Dietrich riots last summer. Not that anyone else is calling them that, though you know that she was an instrumental figure. These people now emboldened have turned to more criminal ambitions, and the Bluecoats are doing what they can or what they want to do, but that seems to not be very much, and definitely not enough. Some more rumors. Jams tells you about a woman who he refers to as evanescence and then fluorescence, and then finally he's like, oh, Reverence is her name, Reverence Culp. She's a journalist for the Lamplight and Night Market. She suffered a head injury as a construction beam fell on her head during a morning commute. She's in medical care, but whether her mental faculties will return is severely in question, he reads off of the newspaper, off of a note. 2 Leviathan hunter ships, Terrapin's Blade and Ochre, returned at only 70% blood capacity. Some commentators foresee that this will mean some lightning protection shutdowns in poor districts and thus more ghost attacks. On top of that, the Duskval Ballet, which has been on and off and defunct for several seasons, was saved from death by a slew of new donors. Auditions are being held in Night Market for an opera called The Gardens of Catalan, an exotic and definitely exoticizing opera penned several hundred years ago. Irinia Cavona, a wondrous young talent from Tycheros, is rumored to have already been cast in the lead role. Then Silas Ward, Chief Inspector of Duskfall's elite detectives, will speak today at the King's Assembly. Also, a prisoner was found murdered in Iron Hook Prison. The body's back was covered in stab wounds. The man was identified as Fen Callum, a poorly behaved prisoner who had a penchant for bothering new arrivals to the prison. He'd been beaten before. This time, however, it was rather thorough. And then the final one is that dog racing in Night Market has seen a great uptick in popularity this winter. I will give you names of dogs next week. So,
you better.
There you.
Don't worry, I will follow up. The kids have a mixture as they're delivering all this. They have a mixture of pretty serious, some of them really do lean into the journalistic angle and are trying to get Hicks all the information they can. A couple of them start acting out ballet moves as they're talking about ballet. The range of ages here is from around 7 to around 13 at the oldest kid. So yeah, that's some rumors, and those are some kids.
Great. I'm going to, while I'm visiting the kids, I'm going to start a long-term project.
Okay.
I'm going to call this Collective Dossier, which is where I am going to have every single member of the collective followed and tracked and get detailed information about what each of them are up to and where they go.
Cool.
So I'm going to be talking to several of these kids, and I'm going to be giving them specific assignments, and I'm going to be like, this is I'm going to assign a kid to each of the 3 dudes who came and visited us the other night, last night. I'm going to give them as much information as I can about the other leadership of the collective. I'm going to have somebody following Finette, the cook, and all of the collective members who work at the Yellow Parrot. Just every single person who is connected to their organization over the course of however long you think this project should take. I want to know every single thing about them.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll make this an 8-part clock. We'll start it now, and you can make your first roll, and we'll see how it goes.
Great. So I'm gonna do. I'll go ahead and consort.
Okay.
And I'll push myself.
Cool.
This is a 6.
Great, awesome. A reminder of something I just learned in looking through the book. You can push yourself to get yourself another die. You can also push yourself to get increased effect. So if you're facing off against someone who's higher tier than you and you want to be on equal footing, you can push yourself to increase the effect as opposed to the die. It can sometimes feel like a little bit of a silly distinction, but there is some value to it if there's a tier difference. In this case, I think getting another die is the better move. So with that 6, you go not just to this factory, but to probably a couple other places throughout the city, talking to more kids. So who do any of the kids specifically that I've mentioned, or do you have any ideas about specific kids who get assigned to any of these individuals? Like, who does Tulips get assigned to?
Tulip, I think I want to keep an eye on. I think I'd identify which of these seems like, whichever kid is the most subtle. I assume it's Tulip, the most like pro.
She's pretty good. Yeah.
She just seems good. She seems she's like a lurk and like is leveling that playbook up. So I'm gonna have her assigned to whichever member of the collective seems like the most secretive or dodgy.
Okay. So in terms of the collective members you already know, you do know the 3 men who came to you, Eckerd, Casimir, and Shiloh. You then also are aware of 4 whose names are not spread around, which is the White Stag, the Fox, the Bear, and there's a 4th one who I really needed to make sure I reviewed it. I think she's the Hawk, but it might not be the Hawk. So these are the masks that they originally wore at the first times you met them. The Fox is kind of nondescript and uninteresting. He wears a lot of rings on one hand. Not really worth your time, but might be sort of boring and uninteresting. Might be subtle enough that you might want to search him. Then there's the Bear is sort of a big diplomatic man. He's the guy who played the diplomat in the conversation with Bram in Felmore Manor. And then the flirtatious woman who Hicks encountered, she is the Hawk. And the White Stag is our boss. Very flamboyant and delightful.
Well, let's just start with the 3 that visited us the other night and Finette.
Yeah.
So
great. Cool. So Tulip.
So we'll have Tulip. We'll have Tulip follow Casimir. Why not?
Great. Sure. Yeah, because you maybe
saw the. Why not? According to what I know.
Yeah, why not? According to what you know.
But
did you see the
why
dog?
Not?
Though?
I saw that dog. Beautiful boy, big beast. What'd you say? Beautiful beast, big boy.
Yeah, but just that he went a different direction than them, so maybe he's got a secret. I don't know. That could be a reason that Hicks might think that.
Seems that way, yeah.
Yeah. All right, great. And then I'll put Jams on Eckerd, and Baldy will go on Shiloh. So we've assigned the kids.
Great.
Great. And Finette will be Absolute, who I will we'll see if we describe those kids more in due time, but they are kids, they're urchins. Great. Yeah, so that's a good start. You get, of the 8-part clock, we're gonna get some responses on here in a bit, but the collective dossier, if you want to keep this clock, is now at 3 out of 8.
Great.
All right. Anything else you want to do? And Aldo and Girl, you've seen this. You've sort of seen the food getting handed out as these kids gave rumors. Jean-Pierre was giving big servings to those who gave the best rumors, and then also gave as much food as he could to the rest.
It was almost so charitable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he pulls Jean-Pierre, like when Hicks isn't looking, pulls some bread out of his back pocket and sort of rips them and starts giving some more to these kids.
I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with
Okay,
that. I'm
great.
not going to tell him not to give bread to hungry children. God, I'm not a monster. Y'all think I'm such a fucking monster, but like
Just
I'm
for other
official.
reasons.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jean-Pierre.
I'll take
I'll
take a coin out of my pocket and I will hand it to the girl and I'll say, I hope that the company coffers do not suffer too much from this charitable endeavor.
She'll take it, she'll flip it in the air, catch it, put it in her pocket. But I do think there's a moment where she's observing the kids where perhaps you see her just soften just a little bit, maybe put her hand to her own stomach, have a sense memory that's deeply embodied. And then as she's watching Hicks, start assigning children, he says, "You gonna have me follow too? Aren't I also an associate of the collective? Aren't you?"
Yeah, we are. But you're my friend, and I feel like I can trust you. It seems like we have different opinions about what this corporate sponsorship might mean, and I'm okay with disagreeing with you about that. But I don't like getting in bed with someone unless I know something about where they've been. So...
You know what this corporate sponsorship means to me, Hicks? What it means to you? Is that 6 months ago I had holes in my boots and felt hungry half the time, and now I don't.
I'm really happy for you. You do seem to be doing well.
Hicks, they're also just kids.
Mm-hmm.
What if they get hurt?
Kids get hurt every day out here, Mrs. Duval.
And she'll sort of nod and let it all carry on.
What about Aldo? Any
carry
responses
on.
from him?
I think Aldo's not really present for this conversation because he's starting to
Sure.
make friends with some of the kids. He's showing them a little bit of like close-up magic. He's got a bullet that he's like like disappearing it and kind of sitting with them as they eat or whatever. And he was looking for one of them who seems to be particularly taken by this charm. Somebody that he might be able to talk to.
Her name's Ruda, and she's 8 years old.
Okay.
She's got really big eyes.
Okay. And so, I don't think he's paying any attention to Hicks or the girl if they've left or not, but
Sure.
some time goes by with this, and I think he eventually teaching Ruda a little bit of how to do it. Oh no, little, just take it slow first. You have to start slow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
try it again. Start
Oh.
it right there. Good. Ruda, you and all of your friends, Hicks takes good care of you, yes?
Sometimes. I've only been here for a few weeks, just coming around. Tulip told me that I could come here. She said if I could find things that were good, like smart things, not like just normal things.
Smart things. That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard because a lot of us don't know how to read, and reading is really good. So Tulip has been teaching me a couple other letters.
Which ones do you know?
I know F and
Yeah. I think
forget a little bit.
it's a really good letter. it's worth at least like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of words like fun, like friends.
Fuck. Oh.
Yes, also that word. It is a very good word. I'll tell you a secret.
You. Oh.
But you I'm glad to know you're here. I'm glad to know that you are finding something smart.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear anything like about something like bad things that happen? I mean, it seems like Tulip and they've been here for some time. They're you've never seen like you should be careful. Not everyone is a friend.
Yeah. If you want to push her, you could roll a consort on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna push a consort in an attempt to gather some information. That's what I'm hoping for here. So I'm gonna consort. How am I gonna do this? How many dots do I have? I'm gonna push myself.
All right.
And I'm glad I did, because it's a 2 and a 5.
Nice. Yeah.
So
so she says bad things. I mean, you hear about bad things all the time.
No.
But if you're looking for something specific, she looks at Jean-Pierre and Hicks. I can just tell it to you. You can show me once.
Of course. I will show you, and you know what? And he pulls out a little candy or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to... There are not good people, and I want to make sure that I want to do like Hicks and Jean-Pierre. I want to help you. Can you tell me anything? Have you seen anyone or hear about anyone?
I don't know exactly. I just haven't been looking for secrets for a long time. But I'll ask, and I'll tell you when I know.
Don't... be careful. And he's gonna give her the bullet that they've been messing with.
Oh.
It's for you.
Hey.
Okay?
Thank you.
And, he'll keep playing with whoever and for a little bit. And...
Yeah, a couple other kids like, wait, are you doing magic?
Yeah, exactly. I'll do some with it.
Yeah, great. All right. So, unless there's anything else, I think we sort of trickle away from this encounter with these children. More downtime actions. What's going on? We started a long-term project. We have to gather information, which does not count as a downtime activity. But yeah.
Varric will show up around probably the Yellow Parrot whenever majority of people are there, and he comes in. He looks just absolutely giddy, and he's wearing a rather horrible brown suit. It's kind of a muddy color. It looks really cheap by Varric standards, and he kind of claps his hands and he's like, anybody in the mood for politics today? It's rather a treat. The assembly is meeting, and I'm going to go and watch if anyone wants to join.
We are like in the Yellow Parrot. It's actually pretty sparse, well attended. It's brunch. The girl sees Varric coming in like jazz hands ablaze.
Ella?
I think I'm good. Have fun.
You... Come on.
No, you're doing great.
This is the seat of this is the seat of power. This is how you learn. This is
Now, you know how you learn? You go to a school, you read a book, you make some intellectual investigation. There's nothing intellectual about what's happening in there.
Respectfully, I disagree.
What are they going to be deciding anyway?
They are going to be deciding the future of Duskfall. I don't actually know what they're talking about. It doesn't matter what they're actually talking about. The matters is they're all going to be there.
An interjection. Hicks, you do know what's going to be happening. Silas Ward is going to be speaking today at the assembly.
Oh, that's right. Silly me. I'll just like clap my little notebook closed, stuff it in the back of my pants, pull on my big winter coat, which has like, you know, like warm feathers lining it. And I'll say, are you wearing that?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Gosh.
Doesn't seem quite your speed.
If you come with me, all will be revealed.
All right.
I'll go
You
too.
have fun. I've got a fight anyway.
The girl's gonna make sure that that the cook and the bartender and stuff are all settled up, and then she'll put on something nicer that maybe she's gotten in the recent weeks and head off to.
Okay. So, you all find yourselves in the halls, the chambers of the King's Assembly, which is referred to in common parlance as the aviary because it's just a bunch of squawking birds. You're sitting. We've not seen the interior of the King's Assembly before in our game, which is essentially the Parliament of Duskfall. It is one of the most elaborate interiors in the city, rebuilt 115 years ago after a horrible fire that killed half of the extant assembly at the time. The fire was investigated deeply, and it was proved without a shadow of a doubt that the king was certainly, definitely, absolutely not responsible for starting the fire or for the fact that the doors were locked. But the reconstruction is beautiful. There are oil paintings that are 20 feet wide and 12 feet tall, showing Duskfall landscapes, most of them out of date and lacking lightning walls or electric lights. A mural on the ceiling actually shows some bluish heavenly figures, which once certainly represented angels, but to you, they look just like ghosts. The walls are green with gilded molding. You're on a sort of higher balcony overlooking it. There are about 20 people in the public seating today, and there are a few familiar faces. You see Eloise Emberson and Tyr Breyer, members of the Friends of Fairness, who are furiously taking notes. Also, after you've sat down, there's a bit of a kerfuffle as Peter Powder and Gunpowder Sally come into the hall. These are two members of the Short Fusers. A cloud of smoke surrounds them both from their endless train of cigarettes. Peter comes up to you, Varric, and shakes your hand enthusiastically when he enters and makes very loud conversation in the middle of the King's Assembly meeting. But an uncharacteristically soft-spoken bluecoat comes and ushers him to his seat. And Peter goes, sorry, very sorry. You see a public defender, a lawyer with a rough suit, graying hair, and a square jaw, taking notes at the far end. He occasionally looks over at you. The balconies for public access look down on the assembly itself, with its central chair for the king and benches for various parties. In the throne today is not the king, but Liam Claremont, who's an old soldier, and he's now the regent to the king. His fist is on his chin as he listens. In the assembly, you see a bunch of familiar faces. You see Robert Boom, who's sitting with the People's Prosperity Party, often called the Triple Piss. And you also see Theric Lomond. Varric, do you want to describe your father?
Yeah, he is dressed in simple but really, really elegant material. So he's not ostentatious over the top, not kind of the way that Varric likes a peacock. He's purely very functional but elegant in a way that is sort of trying to look effortless, but also does make clear that this is the finest tailoring. His hair is sort of swept back, receding a tiny bit, but just sort of giving him a widow's peak, accentuating his sharp cheekbones. He looks like he's only 10 to 15 years older than Varric, even though he is older. But he's well preserved. Maybe the tiniest hints of graying in the temples, but it just all serves to give him a distinguished look.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Graham, I know you're not here, but will you describe Robert Boom?
Yeah, I think Robert Boom is kind of a robust, striking figure. Like, the impression I've gotten is that his glance is like lightning as he, focuses in on whoever he's speaking with. Very charismatic figure, but I believe, like, obviously working class and clearly at the forefront of this group of people who are there's basically a cloud of smoke following them like Pigpen.
Yes, exactly. And you see that Hicks, as you look at Varric and you look at Robert Boom, you realize that Varric looks strikingly like Robert Boom. He also wears a brown suit that's rather worn and sort of old and kind of unpleasant. Just like, clearly this is a functional item and he hasn't bothered to get a new one. Robert Boom also is like one of the only people not wearing a cravat. So Varric is looking somewhat like him. Seems that the only thing that the government can talk about the last few weeks is Enjim's resignation, and now it's about your father, Varric, is speaking. He says, "The facts the Progress Consortium gives are accurate. With Rutham's resignation and the resignation of his most experienced officers, the ministry is weak and the city's security is at risk. More contraband, drugs, criminal immigrants, and forbidden materials are entering the city than ever before. But this anti-corruption legislation proposed, you merely want to cripple the expertise of institutions that we still have left." Robert Boom raises his hand. Liam Claremont gestures to him. Robert Boom stands up and goes, "Once in the Dagger Isles, I hired a chimpanzee as a stevedore. Took some training, took some time." He gestures as if he's made a complete point, and then he sits down.
I lean over to the girl and I'm like, "What is a stevedore?"
I don't know if I know.
Stevedore is a dock worker. They work unloading and loading ships. Your characters would likely know this. Anyway, Theric, echoing the sentiments of the entire assembly, says, "I'm sorry, your point." At that point, Hannah Cleon, a member of the Progress Consortium, stands and says, "A chimpanzee could do a better job than all these corrupted people you're filling the posts with." Robert Boom nods, though whether he intended that remains uncertain. After this conversation sort of finishes somewhat, and it just continues to be a standstill, the majority leader gets up and says, "Our next item, Chief Inspector Silas Ward has requested to testify before the Assembly and the public. We now yield the floor to him." Looks at Liam Claremont, who gives the nod. The doors open, and there are 3 inspectors standing there. The inspectors wear brown cloaks and trim body armor, almost nondescript compared to their blue coat uniforms. They are announced as Silas Ward, Grace Meacham, and another name, which Graham would recognize the last name of that of Grace. Grace Meacham is also has a scarred face. She's familiar to us from previous encounters. She comes forward. The third one, Silas, at the center, is clearly the youngest. He's in his mid-20s, with a short cropped haircut, clean-shaven face that accentuates his youth. He comes to the stand, and Theric Lomond stands and says, "Good afternoon, young men. He reaches out his hand to shake Silas's, and Silas does not take it. Silas takes the stand, and his eyes scan the hall, including the upper balcony. There's this really kind of, at first, sort of like, seems like he might not be understanding what kind of impression he's giving, and then it becomes very clear that he knows exactly the impression he's giving. And he begins to speak. Good afternoon to the honorable members of the Assembly. My name is Silas Ward. I'm in my 3rd year as Chief Inspector. I'm here today to discuss the rise in organized crime in Duskfall in the last months. Our intelligence indicates that at least 30 new organized gangs and syndicates have emerged since the Hawks End Depot leaks. Our purpose as inspectors is not to apprehend the day-to-day criminals on the streets, but instead to seek out those who scorn the law and threaten the city and its people en masse. We will never tire. We will find them, and we will make this city a place of justice. To achieve this, we demand more funding from the Assembly. Our force has suffered from neglect ever since I entered my position, certainly due in part to prejudices against my youth and inexperience. I am capable of operating the inspectors at twice the efficiency of those who preceded me, but this is no longer sufficient. You must act or doom yourself to lose control of every district in the same way you have lost Crowsfoot. I yield the rest of my time. Without waiting for an answer, he steps out and leaves the Assembly.
He's a I turn and walk away kind of guy. Okay.
He has a
Do you need a job?
Reading my playbook.
So that with that, the Assembly, grumbles for a little bit. They don't reach a conclusion about whether they're going to give any more funding for the inspectors. There's some more discussion, and a lot of praise is thrown about by Theric for how well Silas has been doing, but keeps sort of leaning into the point of his youth and inexperience a little bit more subtly. That's most of what happens at the Assembly. Any more interactions with anyone here?
Did you bring us here for a reason, Varric?
Well, firstly, wasn't that fun? That was educational, wasn't it?
Was it educational, Hicks? Oh.
I mean, I don't know. We just learned that the super cops want more money, and some people don't want to get. I mean, what's the impression of the Assembly? Are they? Is there like a loud voice that says yes, we should give the inspectors more money, or what's the?
Yeah, it becomes a little bit partisan pretty quickly. The Hannah Cleon and the others in the Progress Consortium start immediately angling it that the members of the Conservation Salon don't care about the borders or the rising stuff because Brightstone is protected and has lots of Blue Coat support. So they're like, well, our districts, such as Six Towers and other places, definitely need more funding. You do get the sense that maybe some of these Progress Consortium people are making sure that they get the right quote in the papers about their support for a thing, because once it starts getting to numbers, no one is really very active in getting it forward, except Robert Boom, who says something about piles of gold at one point.
I love this man.
Educational. I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of reassured to see that the wheels of democracy are still just spinning in the mud, not getting anywhere at all.
This is not where the wheels spin. And Bella, you're right. This is just the pre-show. Allow me to take you to, and I'm going to lead them to the Corner Cafe.
Yes, Corner Cafe is a long-standing Duskfall institution. It has existed for 213 years. It has only been refurbished one time. The floors are all a bit slanted, but it is a 3-story restaurant built on a corner just a couple blocks away from the Assembly Hall, and it is where people go. Assemblymen are there all the time. There's a good number of Blue Coats outside, making sure that there's no riffraff who get in. But the place is well run, taken care of. All of the employees are super attentive and well dressed, and they're just taking care of everybody's needs super easily. Varric is welcomed in with extreme speed, and Hicks and the girl Bella are they don't get searched like many other people as Varric comes inside. There's people sitting at different areas, and it's clear that you don't sit in a place unless you're welcomed there in the corner club. The corner cafe.
Is Robert Boom around?
Robert Boom is there. He is on the second floor. He is with. He's at first sitting with a couple of Progress Consortium people, and as you watch, he sort of is telling them. He sort of holds up a hand to stop you from coming closer, and he's telling them it's clear that they're trying to push him to fold on some Progress Consortium angle, because Robert Boom is in this situation where he kind of is a tiebreaker on a lot of votes, which is hilarious for everyone else because they have to deal with him. But at the end of the conversation, he says, "Very well," and slams the table 3 times in a row and says, "I shall indeed vote my conscience." And, and the Progress Consortium guys just put their heads in their hands and then walk away. And then he gestures you over. Yeah. Hello there.
Boom, boom, you shook the room. Yes. Yes, my boy.
Yes, my old man. Great to see you. These are your friends. I think yes. I've seen you before. This person. Yes, Hicks. Yes?
That's right. Hello, Robert.
So good to see you. Slaps you on the small of the back.
I try to move a little to mitigate the pain of
the blow. And then the other says, "I do not know you."
Very pleased to meet you. Yes, of course. Bella.
I see. He takes your hand gently and shakes it.
Gentlemen.
Come sit, please. Come.
Thank you, Robert.
We'll have the whatever you serve. Or whatever. Have them have some. Great. Okay.
Wine
what do you want?
Would be wonderful.
She wants wine. So they head off in their own direction.
Robert, that was a load of old nonsense in there, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely nonsense. Yes. I didn't even understand what I was saying about the chimpanzee.
I mean, the only one talking sense in there was you with that chimpanzee talk, honestly.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. You understood, right?
Of course.
What was I trying to say? Tell me.
You were talking about the foolishness of even attempting an anti-corruption bill is the same level as trying to hire a chimpanzee to unload cargo ships. I mean, the futility of throwing money away in such an endeavor, it's just, I thought it was really remarkable.
It's like a 50-50.
Let's roll a sway on this.
I can't tell if he's telling Robert Boom what he was saying, or if Robert Boom, knows what he was saying.
Okay.
What's the damage, Jamie? Tell us.
I don't want. It did end up being 3 1s.
Oh Lord, he's gonna throw you out.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
There's a statistical likelihood of that. Not high.
Yeah, goodness gracious. There is no such thing as a critical failure. It's just a regular failure.
I just rolled twice more and got a 1 and a 2 just to test it.
Oh my gosh. Send that dice to hell. What is it doing?
I don't know. Anyway, that's the...
You need to get those no blades in the dark dice. Those
I
are
do. I'm holding on for those. That's going to be Varric's secret weapon.
Yeah, here's the plug for the new fancy Blades in the Dark dice. If you're a fan of Blades in the Dark, we don't sell them, we don't make them, we don't make money. But here's an ad. Enjoy.
You want more of this? Let us know. Reach out to our content manager.
Yeah, my business email is in my Twitter handle.
With a corporate sponsor, though. The group is divided on taking sponsorships.
We love corporations, so.
Yeah, it's so good. Boom this is from controlled position. It's not gonna kick you out. But Boom goes. I meant the opposite. You could train a chimpanzee to unpack a boat, and then you could train anyone to keep the border safe. Come on!
Robert, this is why you're the assembly member, and I'm just a simple merchant. You obviously have the brain for this kind of business. I'm sorry. Maybe I could spend a little more time with you and just learn how the world works properly.
See, Varric, I have never felt as little understood as I have in these last months in this position. If I had known what I was getting into, or that anyone would vote for me. What was that you said?
I was saying that you really are the voice of the people here. You need to stand your ground. I mean, what were those people from the Progressive Consortium asking?
Yes, Progress Consortium. Oh, they want me to vote with them on that. It's a business with the factories. It's honestly, what it's going to do is allow them to make it so they don't have to provide as good housing for the workers there.
It's
That's
shocking.
always shit anyway.
Shocking.
So, no, obviously I won't be voting with that.
Of course.
I'd like to talk to that woman, the one who's been running these riots. I say it's a woman. Anyway. All right. No, you asked me a question before. What was it? And you can roll a consort on this, on your attempt to become an apprentice to Robert.
Can I attempt to aid?
Yes, please.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I mentioned the bird that Varric has trained. He's good at training animals and metaphors, understanding them, saying them.
Yes.
And just sort of trying to hype Varric up. Maybe also mentioning, the woman who's been running the protest, Varric. Do you know her? Perhaps. Maybe Florencia. Am I?
Is that Florencia?
Isn't it Florencia? Am I wrong?
You're right, it's Florencia.
Right, okay.
That's the American.
Boom is like chomping into his food. It's like a very bony fish, and he just like rips it off of the little fish bones here, somehow avoiding breaking them all in his mouth.
Yes, that was a 1, 4, and a 5. So 5.
Okay, great, good job on that 5.
First one of the season.
First Varric success. Amazing. Boom says, "What you want to learn from me?" Oh, all right. Well, I don't know how many more foolish ideas there have been. We can meet some other time. He slams the table a couple of times. I'm going to give you as a consequence, however, he's talking very loudly about this in a very crowded place where people listen. I'm going to increase the heat on the crew by 1.
Ooh.
Just that someone might have heard it. We don't know who. This is a place where a lot of people hear a lot of things. So that's a thing that happens. Boom, very soon after this, heads off, unless there's any interactions Hicks or the girl want to have specifically with Boom. Great. As he gets up, he grabs you by the shoulders. He sets a time where you'll meet Varric, you and him, and talk some more, and he'll like maybe bring you on the assembly floor sometime. But as you are all sort of eating your food still, he's like hurried out because he's ushered out by some other meeting with someone else. And a woman comes and sits at the table with all of you. A woman with darker skin, in a beautiful gown and a big white fur coat. And she says, "My friends, I did not think that I would see you here. It is the white stag.
It is so lovely to see you. I have wine. Would you like some? Here's my glass. Oh no, not my glass. I mean, perhaps we could get you some.
Oh, it's totally fine. She snaps a finger, and in a single moment, you realize who the owner of the Corner Club is. And she and several people come and lay down wine for her. And she says, "You are too kind, Fleur." She calls you Fleur?
I think so. Yes.
Great. Yeah. Just you are too kind. I'm so glad to see all of you. And she looks over the rest of you and says, "In fact, we have been talking a bit about you recently, the masks and I."
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
We know that it's been. We know that you had a difficult time the other evening, though it seems that you dealt with it splendidly. But we have some hopes for you, and perhaps I can explain a bit about what it is that we might ask you to do, a bit outside of the purview of what we've done before. And with that, we will end our session for this evening.
Give me more.
What?
I'm just glad I'm here and didn't let you two come here to a negotiation with her by y'all.
We are saying yes.
We love her.
I'm just like, whoa, hold on. Let's get it in writing. You can send it to our attorney. We'll have it looked over.
Oh my gosh.
We can flash back Bram and Aldo into that luncheon, no problem.
Oh, I'm not there. No way.
I was considering having Bram be in like another corner reading a paper.
Heck
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
This
I
is
love
like
it.
Lucky Eggs.
I still have to make it canon, but all right. Thank you all so much. Gosh, oh, it's so fun to be back. Next week we will continue with the Contraband. Was seeing what the heck this job is from the White Stag. We'll also there are also so many great streams happening. Tomorrow is Moonshay, which is so exciting. We get a ton of new creators on stream. It's so cool that we're getting this sort of story architect of Moonshay to be GMing tomorrow. So just so cool. Please check that out and support it. What are the other streams happening right now that we should be aware of, Graham?
So on, I think it's Saturday, we are doing a stream of the indie RPG, which is it's called Pasión de las Pasiones, and it is inspired by like telenovela,
Cool
drama. So I believe I don't want to say the wrong date. Let me check our calendar.
Yes, we want to say
We will
dates.
Keep an eye on our socials. We'll be announcing that very soon. I think that is, if not this weekend, it will be next week. I think it's this weekend. Yep.
Great.
So tomorrow we've got Moonshay Isles Rising Shadows with Eric Menge, the story architect for the Moonshay Adventures, DMing his own adventure, which would be very fun. And then we'll have Pasión de las Pasiones coming up, and then we're back next week on Monday, same time, same place.
Same time, same place. Very excited. We're gonna move to a raid at this point. We're gonna jump onto another thing, or is that the case, or no? Yes.
Yeah,
Let's send over to Venture Maidens.
Oh, sounds great.
Venture Maidens.
We love them.
Venture Maidens.
Keep blurring. I'm
Okay.
so drunk with power.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh,
Really
so
Yeah,
much
it's
fun.
so
A
fun.
pleasure
Thanks,
tonight.
everyone.
Yes,
So fun
either
to be
watching in the
back.
present or watching later. Ben, not Ben Isaacs, but Ben Grawl. This is a shout out to you. I'm excited for you to watch this.
Wow.
You're great. We'll talk soon.
And thanks for the raid, House of Zard. We talked in the chat, but we really appreciate you sending folks
Oh,
over our way.
Thank you.
100%.
And we'll always raid you back, baby. Love you.
All right. Thank you all so much, and have a good night. We'll see you next week.